People say, could it be that I am the only one who saw the press conference yesterday as positive? So, I'll share my perspective on that, and also take a look at the chart, what was going on. Additionally, there is some really bullish news about XRP and Ripple. The governments could really push this forward now, and I'm not talking about any XRP reserves or anything like that, which we're all hoping for. So, let's take a look at that. Also, what happened on the chart. Also, what else will be important this week? Full schedule. I would say let's dive right in. We'll see each other after the intro. Now, I want to take a moment to really thank you all. Absolutely wild what you all are delivering here. Over 2,200 views, 115 likes. I'm really curious who really goes for it today and leaves a free like. That really boosts the algorithm. Feel free to leave a short comment about what your opinion is. Criticism is also welcome. Please, just stay friendly. And otherwise, if you're new to the channel and looking for a channel that provides you with fact-based information, objective, without hype, that delivers the daily news, then welcome here. Feel free to leave a free subscription and activate the bell so you don't miss any important information. If we take a look at the overall chart, it's a bit mixed. The whole thing, especially with XRP, you can also pull that out in the news right now. I want to say down there, don't let it drive you crazy. So if the price goes up 3%, then it means that we're at the $100 mark and the $1,000 barrier is about to be broken and everything is going to be really intense. And then if things go a bit differently now, it immediately means, so will we soon see the $2 again? Is XRP going to make any moves here at all? Let's take a look at that right now. Everything in detail. But how does the Bitcoin chart look? So basically we had our significant pullback, which then quickly turned into a long position going up. By the way, you can really see down there the hesitation was also very, very high regarding any possible long positions. I'll show you that in the heat map right now. Definitely, but they were still opened. But then there was another pullback. We briefly tested here in our critical area, but that didn't hold. It went further down, and now we're right here. I can personally imagine quite well that we will run into this area again. That wouldn't be unlikely because there was quite a bit of movement down there as well. And I can show you that again here on the heat map. Demonstrate. Now, just looking at the daily view, down here it's really lighting up. The whole thing hasn't been picked up, and that's definitely realistic because we're already quite low, that it will first be fished out before it continues to go up. If we take a look further here also at the 3-day view, you can see it very clearly here. The hesitation was extreme here. We don't see any volume here. Then there was another pullback and no one knew, is it going up again or down or what's actually going on? And then it continued here, and only now in this range, that's where the long positions were really opened. Looking at XRP, one can also say, doesn't look too bullish right now. So we definitely have lower highs and lower lows here. So we'll have to wait and see. We're also back in a sideways movement here. So it feels like in the range around 240, 250. The price feels pretty comfortable right now. So we'll have to wait and see how things progress there in some way. Let's take a look at the whole thing on the daily view. Here we also have a bit more volume included. But even there, well, it doesn't look that extreme. It doesn't look that extremely bullish without taking away the motivation. Even if we take a look at the heat map here, well, not really up or down. There was the pullback, and since that point, more or less a sideways movement. Down here, we still have volume. So it's quite conceivable that we could also come out around 240. However, it is also shining up here, of course. But the way is up, and here in between there's really nothing. So, as I said, get ready for that too, but now it's really up to the individual. An investor who believes in it for the long term. Now, it doesn't matter which asset. I hope you all thought about it beforehand, where you invested, and then decided to say, I either go in or I stay out. And then that decision also carries through. Such events, I'll get to that in a moment, like what we had 2 days ago. This has happened in the past as well. And theoretically, one would think that everyone has become smarter by now, but still, there were these panic sales and many sold at a loss because they thought there was no tomorrow. And believe me, those people who sold in a panic, they then jump back in much higher and say, yeah, now there's only up from here. Now there's no other way left. Yes, exactly. And those are the ones who end up just losing money. Just a quick note about my futures grid bot. It's still running, of course. And those kinds of price fluctuations are just worth their weight in gold because he buys in every time, sells, and so on. I opened 2 bots during the live session on Sunday. One is in the plus, XRP. He also beautifully collected that loss. Ethereum is still in the red. The price has just continued to slide. But that's why I only went in with a 5x leverage to not overdo it. So I can show you this in a bit more detail. Complete Trump. Here on the channel, the Ethereum grid profit is fitting. But that's an unrealized profit. So that means because he bought in again at the bottom, because it has fallen, it has to be realized first. But XRP, that's pretty powerful right now. If you take a look at the grid profit, even though there's unrealized profit here, it's still part of the overall profit. So let's take a look. Of course, the pullback from yesterday is also included, but all in all, I'm going to keep an eye on this for now. If you're interested in that too, on one hand, you can check it out in the YouTube live. Yeah, how do you set up a bot in a meaningful way, one that works in the long term? Feel free to click in here. And otherwise, if you want to support this channel, feel free to use my link. It's also open and transparent. I get a part of the fees that would otherwise go completely to BingX. So that means you're not paying anymore, but you're simultaneously supporting my channel. So thank you very much at this point. Let's move on to the reserves. It could very well be that the state of Utah takes the lead there. Why? Relatively simple explained. This was also addressed in this video. In this interview, Utah has a shorter time frame for the legislative. That means a decision has to be made within 45 days. And that's interesting again, because if you take a look at yesterday's press conference, the topic was more like, why isn't he talking about that? And why do they have no idea about crypto and stuff? I'll get to that in a moment. However, all of this plays a part because everyone is waiting for these national Bitcoin reserves, where Loomis's plan is quite strong. So, buy a total of 1 million Bitcoin within 5 years and hold them for 20 years. But now let's wait and see. When this all starts rolling, and suddenly, the individual states become active separately, that would already be a step in the right direction. So, unless I'm seeing this wrong, write in the comments what you think about that. Before we get to the massive XRP news, let's briefly touch on the press conference from yesterday. So, the market has reacted differently this time, as many had hoped. In other words, the statements were different. That many have dreamed of, that sounds more like it. Because the thing is, many people were counting on that. The colleague is now going on stage. So it really reminds me a bit of Trump's inauguration, because it was exactly the same there. Many were of the opinion, yes, let's leave all the other topics aside. The guy is only going to talk about crypto in his inaugural speech. Of course, sure, the hope was there, but it just didn't happen. And here you can definitely see reality a bit more clearly. All these gentlemen are a bit older in age, and that in turn has consequences. That you can assume that they need to be properly set up first. So there are definitely bullish impulses, but probably, as is often the case, just like with all those no-coiners, you first have to explain to them, so how do I actually set up a wallet? You just have to do it like this. Also explain it to many people first. What is possible there? Still, many people are talking about a golden era that is going to come. But unfortunately, it's going to take a bit longer. As some might want to wait, but for that reason, in my personal opinion, this press conference yesterday was anything but bad. So I think, as I said, if you have a different opinion, then let me know about it. But these are governments that also say, yes, the private investor needs to be protected, etc. Nevertheless, it was made very clear that the Bitcoin reserves are one of the first things to be discussed. And that's what we're all looking forward to. So it doesn't really matter whether it's about Bitcoin or maybe other currencies in this context. But that means this topic is something we're all waiting for. That could trigger a possible pump where we suddenly see Bitcoin at 145 or even 200K or whatever could be at stake. But we just need to give the whole thing a bit more time to unfold and move directly onto XRP, because I recently shared that on X as well. So if you want to stay up to date, now then, regardless of the videos, I can only give you the tip to maybe follow me there. You'll find the link in the video description or just search for me personally. You can see it here. In any case, the so-called Genius Act was presented there. So this is again a bill from a group of senators, leading Bill Hagerty. And it's again about that, the stablecoin, so to speak, to bring a bit more into focus. Now, a very crucial detail comes to light, and I wrote that down here. If the market cap is over $10 billion, the Fed is responsible. So, in the current case, this only concerns USDT and USDT. So, everything that is below that, the best is below that, that is then under the care of the individual states. Now we have the RLUSD, and that could, of course, be a topic where one says, okay, if the Fed is involved with that, Ripple is currently in a legal battle with the SEC, whether an RLUSD could possibly be included there. Unlikely. Now, one should also say at this point, so there's still a bit of room, up to 10 billion. However, that could definitely be the case, depending on how the states are allowed to act independently. That then means that the RLUSD might actually be included. And that should have a positive effect on the Ripple ledger. It should also have a positive impact on the RLUSD, increase in the market cap, and of course also for XRP. You still need that in the whole cosmos. Next, let's look at the total market cap, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I just want to draw a comparison for you here. So this is what we have here right now. Or rather, now let's assume, let's say this severe, really severe correction that we had. It went down and we had a loss of, let's say, around 35%. Now to catch you up, and I simply say, why don't we all smarter? So everyone who talks about it, yeah, the cycle, and it's completely different now, and so on. Okay, so let's plot this out here. Let's start from this bear trend, shall we? Where everyone thought it was over. At the peak, we had a loss here. Hold on, let's plot it out here. Of almost 60%. The total market caps and what happened afterwards. So that's the big question at this point. By the way, the rules do repeat themselves in a way. So up here in the front, it's obviously not comparable. But if we take a look at this here, I find that really exciting. If we draw a line across here, we basically end up at the same point. So I'll plot it out for you again here. Once here at the top, and once here at this top exactly again. Tested, or rather, it didn't go beyond that. Of course, one could say now. That was back then too. But now we have many more market participants in the market. It's really interesting that the rejection happened exactly here, just like it did back then. And so, as I said, where exactly do we stand in this cycle now? I don't know. If you know more about it or have a forecast, feel free to write about it in the comments. But all in all, this could really be a washout from the market, where many sold in panic, and possibly, like I said, no forecast that it will happen that way. Now we see the massive increase. You never know, but it could theoretically be that way. And those events have happened in the past as well. Even if people always forget that, and back then, I thought it was just going straight up. No, there were also the corresponding pullbacks, and everyone thought it was over. Now take a look at the current mood. Think about how people are thinking right now, where you suddenly get comments like it's over and nothing will ever happen again. And XRP will never go above $3 again. And Bitcoin in the end, well, not quite at the end, right now, but maybe it will go down again, sure, and all the altcoins along with it. And we know it, yes. So as I said, I would look at the whole thing a bit more calmly. And here, by the way, just a quick note about all these narratives. So if you're up for it, feel free to write in the comments. Should I break it down in detail? Why has Ondo suddenly come into focus, into the mainstream? And before that, no one had it on their radar. I can give you a tip. I still buy AI tokens today. Even if people keep forgetting that. But Trump has also announced that he will invest massively in this market. With Stargate, together with OpenAI, etc. Of course, not all of these total ones will skyrocket. It almost feels that way to me too. Many jump from one horse directly to the next, just like it is the case here. Yeah, they're not in trend right now, so selling at a loss. We're now jumping into RWA. That could suddenly take off if this is over. Gaming, or have we not heard anything at all until now? Oh, now the first reports are coming out. You're just losing money in the end. I'm just reminding you of Trump. Anyone who doesn't want to believe me right now. Trump meme coin. Everything has been reshuffled. Guaranteed so and so many are in the red from the assets to get into the Trump coin. And what happened in the end? Again in the red. So think it through and hold your positions, at least if you've thought about where you got in. I'm not doing it right now. And now just to wrap up briefly, what's going to be important now? So this week, it's all about the job market. And the big question right now is the initial claims for unemployment benefits. So how many people have filed for unemployment? And that's where it gets interesting again. Depending on how these values turn out, we'll see one thing or another in the interest rate decision at the Fed. So we're not quite out of this whole situation yet, and we're just going to wait and see what's going on there. Also, for example, the retail sales where we have, so how generous are the Americans? There are still a few points coming up for us this week where we should definitely keep an eye on. So that should be it for now. I'm very curious, what's your opinion on XRP, the altcoin market, and Bitcoin? Are you still invested? Are you feeling bullish? Are you feeling bearish? Feel free to write down there. Even if you liked the video, you're doing me a huge favor if you leave a quick like. That really boosts the algorithm again. And of course, feel free to subscribe if you haven't done so yet. In conclusion, I can also give you the tip. Feel free to check out this video. It was 2 days ago, and yes, it's mainly about the tariffs, but I still have a few other insights in there that could also give you a bit of peace and especially show you the tariffs. It's not even about the tariffs. So what I mean, you'll find out in the video. Otherwise, we'll see each other tomorrow in the next one. Until then, all the best. Ciao.